Nick, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're extremely busy wrapping up the end of the year, planning for 2024, but we wanted to get together, talk a little bit about some of the highlights that we've experienced over the last, 3 years now, and working together. And your relationship with IWConnect or Interworks goes back even further. So maybe just give us a second on Nick, how we got here, your experience with us, anything that you'd like to share just as we get kicked off. Thanks again for the time.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So, as mentioned, I'm Nick Keene. I'm the software QA manager over here at EVgo, and I've been here 4 years now. And as you mentioned, we've had a much longer relationship. I've worked with you at a previous company a few years before that as well. And what impressed me was the skill set that your team had, the ability, the depth, and readiness to pick up new things, new technologies, new tasks, whatever it is. And that desire is what brought me back to you guys when we started having an onboarding uh, option for contractors. I gotta say, the single biggest accomplishment, and this speaks back to your guys' willingness to think very crazily outside of the box, is the automation project that we underwent, not last year, but the year before.
Yep.
I had this crazy idea of having all of our front end, mobile app, and back end automation in the same framework where we could leverage everything more uniformly and coherently. And that was a massive undertaking. Um, it did require everyone to come up to speed with TypeScript. Now, we had had people working in Python, we had people working in um, JavaScript for some applications, and for others, it was all being done with like Ready API tooling. And then you said, no, everything's going over to TypeScript. Everything's going to be in the same language, the same framework. And with that came a huge success factor, because then we had developed a really proper framework where we could have back end calls embedded with our front end calls and to get information, verify information, final resting spots. That was a huge success and a massive undertaking to get done in roughly 8 months, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I think that we
So
we far exceeded your expectations there, I believe, and probably far exceeded the ones that you set internally. To your point, you said, "Hey, we've got this quote unquote kind of impossible objective that we're going to try to bust through in a record amount of time." So, what what was the feeling across the board with your other engineering managers across EVgo when you said, "We're going to do this and we're going to do it by this date," and then when we delivered, what was the outcome internally?
a lot of happiness, a lot of sharing, and a whole lot of surprise. Um, you know the old adage, the all the things about QA is that when it comes to automation, it's either ill designed, not really thought through, or it's using easier, more complex algorithms and logic. And this did none of that. This really was designed and implemented in, in a developer mindset that leveraging everything that we need from a testing aspect. So, the SDMs or software development managers were really quite surprised.
Right, right, and that propelled you guys to in a position to do what? I mean, the objective there was speed for your development teams, right? How do you get more product out faster? How is that translated into what you guys experience in the back half of the year, and what you intend on experiencing even in 2024 and beyond?
It's it speaks to the core objective of continuous delivery, continuous testing. Everyone always talks about CI/CD, but in order to have really functional CI/CD with functional gates, you have to have a continuous testing mindset sort of baked into it. And what this gets us is the ability to build test and maintain test a lot faster,
Hmm.
so that we have the ability to really do cross-functional testing without having to have the human power involved of doing it every cycle. So it allows us to release faster.
Right. Okay. This will be one of the pauses that the team will cut out because we've kind of we've kind of gone through somewhat of the majority of the questions all in one type answer here.
Mhm.
Um, so um, one thing that I'd love to understand, Nick, is uh, outside of your past experience with us. I know we did some other things internal to EVgo, right? From we had some mobile engineers on board that help with your mobile applications. We had some DevOps engineers on board to help, to your point, with really solidifying that CI/CD approach and strategic approach that you had. Um, what are some of the other things that you saw where our teams impacted the business in a positive way, and that you heard about from your teams throughout the EVgo ecosystem?
Well, I have to say, with the mobile engineers, our mobile engineering team really appreciated their efforts and um, saw their level of expertise and skill set and their ability to do things, and without a lot of direction. And that's the important thing. Um,
And I
yeah,
think that one thing that and sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned not a lot of direction. I think that that's one thing that you've come to appreciate. You've mentioned this before about our team. We're not just task takers, right?
yeah.
We have opinions because we've been there, done that. We've seen a lot of things, and we try to bring best practices into every environment. So
I'm
I'm
trying to think of
curious.
the best way to describe something that I told one of my team members recently was I have been invested in Goran's development and his ability to really speak up and argue with me on the points, to really come back and say, no, that is insane. That just doesn't make sense. Because in all groups, there's always going to be people that say, okay, internally say, okay, this is insane. I'm just going to say yes and do my best. And then you need someone to actually speak up during those cases. And that's what I've been coaching members of your team on is I want to be told about. I need you to tell me this is insane, Nick. We can't do this. Or we need more time to do it.
Or think about it this way. Maybe there's a different way, right?
Exactly.
Maybe based on what we've done for a different customer over here or a different one over there. Um, uh, we've seen what you're trying to do, but have you thought about it like this? I mean, like I said, uh, w- we pride ourselves in being a bit agnostic when it comes to technology, but we certainly have opinions because we've been there, done that, and that's a consulting mindset. That's not a task driven mindset.
You're starting to sound like a commercial that that comes up periodically above. We know a few things because we've seen a few things
Okay.
type deal. But that is true. You guys, you you hire strong people, first off. And with that, you're investing into them and you're investing into their skill set. But you also make sure that the people that stay around constantly growing They don't become stagnant. And that's a very important thing. I've worked with a lot of offshore teams in different parts of the world. And again, I know a few things because I've seen a few things.
Yep.
And what I see happen is a lot of places, and this is true in every organization in the world, there's a certain amount of just stagnation that occurs within a team. And that's not always bad because once you get specialized, once you get into that skill set, there's always a need for it. When you think about the 1999, 2000 Y2K bug, there were people that needed to know COBOL and assembly language to solve that time issue, even though those languages weren't really in use at the same level as they had been before. So when you think about that now, there's still active development in Ruby. I have not worked at a location that uses Ruby, but there's still people that need to know it. So there's always going to be a certain level of, hey, we need to keep these people because it's still in use. But at the same time, you don't want to just become reliant on, well, they're always going to need someone that knows XYZ because that's still in use. So you have to be willing to invest. I spend a lot of time trying to figure out new things, how to keep myself abreast of what's changing. And I see that with IWC, with IWConnect. I see that in the people that you guys keep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that that's the difference between, as you mentioned, stagnation can really be identified at an individual level. But I think that that's why you partner with somebody like us, because you're not partnering with an individual. You're partnering with a team, and a team that has broad experience across the board. So as different needs come up, I think one of the things that you've mentioned to me in the past is our ability to maybe bring on the right people at the right time, the right skill set at the right time, and to have a team in the background when somebody needs support on our side, that they can instantly go to dozens of other professionals across their practices and get that support. So, what's it been like knowing that you've got a partner on this side that, regardless of what you're trying to do, can maybe bring and go grab those skills and that information and knowledge across 300 plus engineers that we have currently today?
It's reassuring and it's really nice to have. At this point, I've met with several different leaders within your organization from different functions. I have worked with your developers. I've worked with your QA. I've worked with some of your DevOps people, and just the ability to have the conversations and get everyone seeing the vision. And when they say, I need to think about this or I need to research this more, I know that they're going to go back and spend due diligence on it. So,
Yep.
and because of that, I'm willing to give time. I've worked with organizations where when I hear, oh, I need to think about this, I know the answer is always going to be no. That they're not going to invest in it. They're not going to do the time. They're not going to invest in their people or invest in anything that isn't we did this at 3 other companies. We have this down. We're just going to do it here. Copy and paste and change out the important things. Because you do that with automation, honestly,
Sure.
But our industry is still very new.
Your industry's new, your environment's unique, right? Some of the things that you're trying to do, you guys are building it as you go. I mean, you're the leaders. You're the leaders in what you're doing. So the playbook hasn't been built because you guys are leading this new industry.
Exactly. And that's a big thing here is We are not one thing. We are not just a construction company. We are not just a charging company. We are not just a software company. We are a combination of things, an amalgamation, which is still brand new. If the closest analogy would be a gas station, that's just the most easily defined one because we're talking car to car.
Right.
But that's not what we do entirely. It's not franchising. It's not a franchisee's buying a license to have our name and our supply chain. That's not what it is. Every single set that we build out is made uses renewable energy. That takes a lot of effort.
Sure.
So we do have the construction side. We do have the fact that we make software and leverage it through our partnerships, and that we provide software directly to our customers. We partner with the car manufacturers. So it's not a single box that we fit into. And that, means that we have to think differently, because how are you going to test something depends a lot on the entry point and the expected outcomes.
Sure.
That's true with just about all software. It's just our entry points are different. And the way that we produce that data is different.
Yeah. And one thing that we've tried to do with you, and you've done a great job, is we've really tried to understand the business, right?
Yes.
Like I said, not just task taking and building test cases, but understanding the business from A to Z,
Yes.
and really getting a fundamental understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, and then reverse engineering back to how we get there.
Exactly. And that's the thing about a partnership is
Yep.
you invest the time to understand.
Yep. Yep. So with that investment, what gets you excited about 2024? Where we're going, how we potentially partner together even more in 2024. What's got you excited about that and beyond?
2024 is going to be an extremely busy year for us. We have some massive objectives that we want to get through and really hammer it down. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all of the new opportunities that are going to come out of this year. Um, and I can't go into all of those details,
Sure.
obviously, but I think we're at an exciting point within the software team that I'm looking forward to working with you guys on.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it as well, Nick. Really appreciate it. Nick, I appreciate your time. I'll ask this one last question, then we'll stop the recording. Any hesitation at all? Would you ever have any hesitation at all referring us to anybody else that you know?
Never.
Yeah, I
I
appreciate
would
that.
recommend you guys in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Same goes to you. We appreciate it, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you.